Good afternoon, my friends. This is the Grim Flayer. Hope you're all doing very well today, and I hope you are ready to go back to the building block of this channel, the strong rock on which we were founded. That is right, we are playing green-black rock in Modern, some Golgari Midrange, and I could not be happier about it. Well, maybe I could be happier about it, just because I don't know how well positioned it is. Believe me, I wish nothing more than that this was like a tier 1 strategy, the best way to play a fair deck in Modern. Sadly, I think we can all agree it's not the case, but I also think we can all agree that the rock still has game. There's still a lot of really good incentives to play our streamlined, two-colored, green-black interactive deck, and you know what, guys? I'm going to try to will this into existence right here for you. It has been nothing but 3-hour slogs with a lot of bad variants lately and playing against a lot of just ultra grindy decks. And that's not where Rock wants to be. If we're facing those matchups, we would rather be on Abzan or Jund. So I hereby will it into existence that we play against a lot of faster decks, a lot of more linear decks that we can leverage our interaction and our relatively painless mana and all of the tools at our disposal to police. That's what I am hoping for today. That's where Rock can really shine relative to alternatives, and hopefully that's what happens for us today. This is a donation league. This is funded by a very long-standing Patreon supporter and all-around great guy, David Cordova. David Cordova. I think I got the inflections right, my friend. He even told me how to enunciate the name. I probably got about 50% of the way correct there. Let's hope for that. So, David, my friend, I do dearly appreciate you, and he just wanted to see me play good old-fashioned Rock, and he only had one stipulation. He said it can be live, replay, whatever you want, you can play whatever list you want, just do one thing for me, do not under any circumstances register Veil of Summer. He hates that card, if it's possible, even more than I do. So, I am playing my 50-50 list, and I respect that decision, my friend, so much. So I'm playing my 50-50 list, and I've just replaced the 2 Veils of Summer with 2 other cards. My first instinct was actually to play a 3rd copy of Ashiok for obvious reasons, but you know, it's not quite as necessary as it was a little while ago. Titan decks are still very common, but they're not quite as ubiquitous as they used to be. And I find myself, with this 50-50 list, we are trying to compete with Jund, we're trying to compete with Bant, we're trying to have a critical mass of value, positive things to do in those matchups that also happen to be good in other matchups as well. So to that end, I did bring in 1 copy of Collective Brutality. There's a lot of matchups where, like, if you have 2-3 Brutalities in your side, you're like, I kind of want to play not all of them, but I kind of want access to this card. I feel like Gruul Midrange falls into that category, and the Bant Snow decks fall into that category, where it's like, drawing more than 1 can be a liability because it just doesn't answer their powerful payoffs, but leveraging exactly 1, you know, against Gruul to kill an Arbor Elf or a Magus of the Moon and or take a Pillage out of the hand, against Bant to check the hand, take a Cryptic Command more than anything. These are the types of use cases I'm finding these days for Collective Brutality. So, of course, it helps shore up our aggro matchups and our red deck wins matchups as well. And Liliana the Last Hope is just a direct value card. It is just a nod to the fact that Rock 60s do not inherently grind as well these days as Jund 60s or Abzan 60s in the head-to-head or other fair decks. So Liliana the Last Hope, of course, going to be good against X1 decks, but also a value piece. And that's about all I'm going to say for the deck tech, guys, because the rest of the 75 is something that I have explained in the deck tech in great detail that I made, I guess, about 2 weeks ago now. So, without further ado, let's play a league. Once again, this is courtesy of David Cordova. So, my friend, I always love playing just about anything for just about anybody who has supported the channel, but it makes me feel extra happy when I get to play rock for a supporter, especially a good old-fashioned stock list. I know that is still the main deck for a lot of you, and it is always near and dear to my heart. Still kind of my favorite deck out there. You know, the more things change, the more they stay the same. So some stock rock coming right up. We're finding our opponent right now. Other than that, I'd like to say thank you once again to all Patreon supporters. Thanks to everybody who's been kicking it with me in the Discord. We've been having fun lately, and much more good times there to come, I'm sure. Finally, thank you to Brian Palmer, the channel sponsor, a BGX player himself, and somebody who is offering a 10% off discount code to viewers of this channel. Information about all of that is in the description below. And let's kick it off with some rock. This is a very keepable opening hand. We do need to draw a couple lands in the first 4 turns, but we can function pretty well until we do that. Especially if this Fatal Push is live. Inquisition. Well, Fatal Push is not live. It looks like Jeskai. This might be Jeskai. We're taking a remand here. This might be the Jeskai Restore Balance deck. Couple copies of Remand makes me think it's more of a combo deck. Remand is not as common in control shells as you might think, or as maybe it once was. And moreover, Jeskai Control is not that common just in and of itself, right? Well, we've missed the land. Feels bad. Now we have no choice but to run something out and do a remand here. But we definitely have to. Or do we? Or do we? You know, actually, our best play might be simply to just put levels on Hexdrinker, and I'm going to do it. And price them into pathing it sometime. And hope that they are just kind of drawing blanks. Making their remand bad is about the best we can hope for right now. Obviously, drawing lands is still what we want to do, but it makes the draw of like a makes the draw of an Inquisition better than it would otherwise be to have sequenced this way. Is opponent going to upkeep path us? No, not quite. Well, once again we miss the land. You hate to see it. I guess we should get our attack in first. If our opponent has waited this long, they might also wait until our 2 damage comes across. Okay, there's the path. Okay. Get a forest. Now, do we want to run anything out into the remand? Now at this point, I think we kind of have to. And I think it's going to be the Tarmogoyf. Because Bob is something that could die to some of their red removal, but Tarmogoyf does not. Oh, they let it resolve? I didn't expect that. But okay. Well, if we thought they were going to let it resolve, I kind of would have rather played Bob, but again, I think this is fine. And right now we're kind of operating as though we're against a control deck. Just a standard good old-fashioned Jeskai control. We're like back in 2018 with Rock versus Jeskai. But as always, they could be the combo deck, right? This draw of a second Questing Beast is pretty awful when we haven't hit our 4th land yet, right? And just missing the 4th land is so bad. It's just so bad. We could be playing into a Verdict if we play out a Bob. Or if they don't have a Verdict, we're just making their remand good. But we're not holding anything up except Fatal Push if we don't. So I think we're supposed to play the Bob. Oh, man. Super clunky hand here. Loving the Mirage basics from the opponent. Yep, like, missing land drops in general is bad on this deck, but against a Remand deck, it is a disaster. Opponent is looking like they're pretty flooded, though. It's the one thing we got going for us, right? Thoughtseize. I'm gonna attack first. Thoughtseize could grow the Goyf, but in a lot of cases it won't. Another path. Okay. Now it's time for Thoughtseize. Double Felidar Guardian. Okay. Interesting. We'll play the Bob, say go. So opponent's got 2 lands and the Felidar Guardian in hand, plus the Field of Ruin they just drew. Ooh. If they field us, we should get Fatal Push in case they run out the Guardian. Or excuse me, we should get Swamp right now in case they run out the Guardian just to make a blocker, but they don't. Fair enough. Well, we're very far ahead on resources, and we know exactly what the opponent's got in hand, which is Felidar Guardian. One option here is just QB and Race. Another option is Tracker into land, hold up Abrupt Decay, and also hold up Clue. And I do actually kind of like that just a little bit better, because we can decay whatever the target they find for Felidar Guardian is if they find one, right? But there is a lot of incentive to simply Race as well. But the good thing about QB is you can always do that next turn. We'll be putting, let's see, 9 damage across next turn. If we crack a Clue this turn, if we're not priced into the Decay. Okay, scratch all that. They drew a Lightning Helix, which extends the game significantly. Okay, we drew a Thoughtseize. That's the concession. Alright, we were about to Thoughtseize the Felidar Guardian, then go on the QB plan. So we are against Jeskai Copycat, but it's one that is playing way more of a control game than I'm used to seeing. I don't know if we should be siding really much differently than we would against Jeskai Control. But whereas a card that's a little marginal like Liliana the Last Hope might not be as appealing. But I'll tell you what we probably want. Chokes. Actually, you know, I thought I was about to say, hey, let me tell you what we definitely want. This is kind of funny. You could literally make an argument for every single card in the sideboard. Plague Engineer shuts off the combo, presumably, or just makes it, you know, unless they have removal for the combo, it's going to make a bunch of 0/3s. Brutality against a control deck. Finks, Fulminator, Ashiok, Last Hope, Spellbomb. All of these cards are fine against a Jeskai control deck, so this is pretty interesting. I'm going to give this one some real thought here. I think we're going to end up with a very hedged sideboard when all is said and done. I'm cutting a land. Let's make it a Blooming Marsh. I'm definitely playing 2 chokes. Suppose they probably play Little Teferi to bounce that. Nevertheless, seems good. I think we're cutting 1 Liliana. She's very, very fine here, but again, we are going to go toward a hedged situation, I'm sure, and similarly, Fatal Push. Killing the cat is live, but until I see more than that, I think we're going to have better things to do. I'm going to cut 1 copy of Scooze. I think we're probably leaving in all Decays and Trophies, possibly leaving in Push as well. I like our one of Hexdrinker here. I like QB a lot. Tracker's very good against their... Yeah, okay, so. I'm going to play the Brutality. I think I'm going to play 1 Plague Man. And I think we're going to leave Fulminator out on the draw. So why don't we go Spellbomb, Thinking about double Kitchen Finks as a way to win through their interaction really well. We'll give this a shot. I think how much red interaction they showed me is what's got me really wanting to play Finks, and also the prospect of them having even more of like a control style plan B post side. Finks is just a very, very reasonable card if we're expecting the usual Jeskai control tricks, right? This hand would be much better on the play, but I think we're supposed to keep it. It's perfectly reasonable. Opponent's gonna like fetch Serum Visions here. It's gonna do the Goyf growing for us. And Goyf is now immune to Lightning Bolt if we want to play him on curve. Would love to draw 1 mana discard or lands, and we didn't do either. We drew the Liliana. Spreading Seas. Yeah, okay. I didn't really expect that. Now we need lands more than ever. A choke? Well, this makes our choke worse too. Dang. That card is a bit of a nut find for the opponent on curve. We've got a lot of problems here. So many bad things could happen right now. Another Spreading Seas being the worst, but even if they like play Teferi and bounce Goyf, we're getting tempoed out of the game. Oh my, the other Seas, really? Okay, well, we're just going to lose, almost certainly here. Marsh Flats. Do we dare? Do we dare to just play the choke? To just play the choke and try to win with Tarmogoyf? We fetch shock, we choke. How funny would that be? I think we should probably see exactly what's in their hand before we do that. I'm not going to play around them having a third Spreading Seas, but if they do, they got us. I'm not escalating here. I still think we need to play for the long game enough where, you know, this life drain doesn't really matter. Okay, they have a 4th land, Felidar Guardian, Anger of the Gods. So if we don't take an instant, Goyf could die to the anger. Remand, Path, Lightning Helix. This is a tough one. This is a very tough one, in fact. I think I'm taking Remand, which is going to grow the Goyf outside of anger range, and if they path us, they're making their Spreading Seas a lot worse. Another option is to just take the path and try to win through choke, but then of course they can remand the choke. Yeah, I'm going to take the remand here. Alright, Operation price them into a path to exile. If we can, and just draw a bunch of lands. Just want to draw a bunch of lands. They can field us off of one of our colors here. I play the Felidar Guardian. Pouncing Spreading Seas. Oh, I see. Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. Oh, man. So choke officially hurts us more than it hurts the opponent, but it still might be correct to do it. Like, if we just let them keep... Like, we're pretty mana screwed anyway. These blue sources don't do too much for us. We could also cast another Tarmogoyf. Casting another Tarmogoyf is actually kind of good. We can do that next turn, though. I'm going to choke him. What a world. Well, let's just keep drawing lands. They're basically operating off of mana that's more awkward than it appears, due to that Field of Ruin being dead. Strangely enough, if they had okay, never mind. They just drew another one. If they had left the seas where it was, not that they should have, it would have made things a little bit different. Ugh, we're getting punished. Okay, never mind. I mean, the choke was ambitious, but even if we're not... even if we hadn't choked, we're still losing in different ways to this. We're just totally unable to play. Having another Tarmogoyf around, though. I'm not confident that it would be the panacea we need, because remember, they have that Path to Exile. Oh, God. This is a disaster. But again, the double C's on the play. What do we expect, right? Definitely could have been wrong to play the choke. It also would have been nice for them to not know about the choke. It's getting absurd, though. Worst card, and maybe one of our Bobs. They're never going to live even if we ever get to cast them. Teferi. Alright. They bounce our choke instead of our Goyf. Interesting. I'm attacking Teferi here. Will they path our Tarmogoyf? This is a bizarre game, guys. If they do, I'm becoming tempted to put the choke back in, but that's probably bad. Yeah, replaying the choke is bad. Guess we're just playing another Goyf and most likely dying to their combo. Okay, I'll pitch the choke to grow the Goyf. They don't appear to have the combo rolled up. Okay, interesting. Draw of a fetch land is great. So one option is Inquisition followed by Questing Beast, which seems like the most likely to be good. The opponent has a Remand that could kind of suck. But Remand is good against any of our lines. We can't really hold stuff up in the face of that Teferi. We could attack first, but if we attack first, we're off of the QB plan. So I think we will, in fact, lead on Inquisition. See what happens. They have the Remand. Okay. So if we follow back up with another Inquisition, we cannot cast anything else. Therefore, I don't think we should. Actually think I'm going to get basic Swamp here, even though it's worse against a third Spreading Seas, because I don't need to give them a Field of Ruin target, right? Never mind, I'm sorry, that was almost a punt. We need the double green for QB. They could just have another Remand, right? But let's make them have it. Since we're swinging for lethal, I think I'm going to send both at the opponent. Like, if we send the... Yeah, I'm going to send them both at the opponent. No matter how we attack, if they want to block well, they can. Yeah, they have a path, jeez. Again, it's unwinding some of the damage from Spreading Seas, but that's a little bit rough. So yeah, even sending Goyf at their life total, which was not strictly a necessary block for them to make with Wall of Omens, they still do so, right? So opponent has Helix, Anger, 3 unknown. There's a combo. Okay, they found it. So there's nothing we could have done here. Because even if we had played scared of that by playing Plague Engineer, Plague Man dies to Lightning Helix. Okay, well, we got Spreading Seas out of that game, basically, and still kind of almost got there. It really wasn't that far off. The opponent did whiff on the combo for the first 28 cards of their deck, so there's that. Alright, so we saw nothing that unexpected besides Spreading Seas. We could get a little more hateful in our own way to their lands with Fulminator Mage. I don't think we need Nihil Spellbomb as much as I thought we might. It still seems fine, especially as a one-of, but... So. Second Plague Man respects the combo more. Fourth Liliana coming back seems better on the play and also good against what we... Now that they're kind of confirmed to be more on a really classic Jeskai control plan, aside from the combo. Fulminators do seem pretty good here, don't they? What if we play 3 Fulminator, 1 Choke? Fulminator is just more flexible, doesn't have the downside that Choke does if we're getting seized. And then I guess the Finks are fine, but a little bit worse if we're having to make changes and we're bringing in even more 3-drops. We could cut 1 Skoos, 1 Finks. Dark Confidant dies to a lot, but he's so good if he sticks. Only question is, can we squeeze in the second Plague Man? And should we, if we can? I think he's just a little bit too poor against the Jeskai stuff. I think just trying to beat them on our own merits without having what amounts to a vulnerable lock piece on the field is fine. Is better, rather, but playing 1 copy is fine. So as I said after Game 1, between Game 1 and Game 2, we are once again on a hedged plan here. Alright, we have a very, very strong 7. I will keep. Okay, there's the Snapcaster Mage, which we hadn't really seen before. Yeah, let's play for the long game. Take the snap. Thought about taking the Serum Visions this turn and the Snap next turn, but letting them Serum is totally fine. It's going to ensure that they do this, which is give us a good Fulminator Mage target, kind of no matter what else happens for turn 3. Aether Gust, Path to Exile. I was going into this turn planning to take the Gust, but we can just try to, like, win all out with Hexdrinker. The problem is that's vulnerable to them top-decking Teferi, and other things, indeed. And it also doesn't let us Fulminator all that easily. So I'm still going to take the Gust. We're going to stick to the initial plan, but admittedly we don't have another threat if they path this. However, I think this does give us the best chance of, like, out top decking them on average. Alright, so we're very far ahead in terms of board presence, just based on being on the play, plus having the Fulminator, plus getting pathed. In terms of our mana production, we just need to draw a threat or a Liliana right now. We've drawn Tarmogoyf, I accept. Definitely a fine one. QB was the card I had in mind, right? But this is totally legit. Total fine top deck. And now we've got some good reactive answer cards in hand. And we've got a beater. Okay, our hand is a little too reactive, perhaps, for my tastes now. They have a second path. Rough. Having a second path really punishes us for taking the first path over the Aether Gust, but again, we have set ourselves up to play the long game pretty well. We're not going to die to their combo anytime soon with this hand. Just got to keep drawing threats. Thoughtseize. There's a big argument for waiting on this Thoughtseize for a turn to try to clear the way for something. I think I will. Interesting round one here. Okay, exactly as we drew it up. Draw Tarmogoyf, so we'll clear the way first with a Thoughtseize. Seasoned Pyromancer, the third path to exile, and a Lightning Helix. Dang. Well, the value positive thing to do is to take away the Pyro. We don't necessarily need to be value positive, though, because we are ahead on resources. But if we take the path and then play the Goyf, the opponent will just Helix us, untap, play the Spyro. It's kind of bad for us, isn't it? Nevertheless, I don't think we can afford the third path of the game. So that's going to be the play. And we'll hope they don't have a Pyro plus a top deck that is so strong we cannot overcome it. Our life total's getting pretty low, too, just for the record. Opponent found a Serum Visions off the top. They loot away at Purge. Okay. Time to start putting some of these reactive cards to good use. I will Decay Spyro here. Field of Ruin. Okay, Goyf will connect. We're going to say go here. I'm going to hold the field for, because I have trackers and brutalities in my deck. Yeah, Teferi. I kind of knew they drew a Teferi. I just knew it. I just knew it. And because we don't want our field to get fielded, for example, in the face of a potential colonnade from them, which could be a real finisher at this stage. Saheeli. Well, we've got to kill her. Dark Confidant, huh? I think we're supposed to still redeploy the Goyf. And at this stage, I am going to make that land drop. Another Bob. Man, oh man, these are bad right now. These are bad right now because our life total's low and because they have these tokens to flashback. I think we have to try to attack the Teferi off the field. They let it go. Alright. It's time to play a Bob. And most likely use him to trade with an elemental here. Here come the others, yep. Trading. Talk about a bad value play. Opponent with another Saheeli, yes. The value positive thing to do is trophy her. Or, excuse me, the mana efficient thing to do is trophy her. I think I'm gonna give it a shot. This could get remanded, but remand next turn could cramp our style a lot more if we draw a desirable spell. Opponent fielding our field, which is kind of something I've been a little bit afraid of lately. QB, that is what we're talking about. Let's go for it. No, they have a remand. Ah, come on. That is a disaster. I can't believe they have a remand. Do I even want to play this, Bob? I mean, playing the Bob means we could die to a bolt after we take a point of damage or so off our own trigger. But that's true if we don't do anything. So I'm going to play the Bob. And if we attack, we put them to 8, which means we're representing lethal on the crackback. But again, if we hang back, we are just dead to their chump attacks plus a lightning bolt or a lightning helix. I think we're probably supposed to attack and hope they have bricks. I think that's a little more statistically likely than like trying to sit back and hope our Bob flips painlessly and also hope they they brick on top of that, right? Serum Visions is a scary card right now. Real scary card right now. They put one on top, and there's the Colonnade. We kind of thought it was coming based on their sequencing. Saheeli. Saheeli. These pings, these Saheeli pings, we would be at 6 without them. But they have to sit back. All right, Bob, don't kill us. Don't kill us, Bob. Assassin's Trophy. Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize, that's not it. Alright, so we took care of their board, we took care of Saheeli because Questing Beast is amazing, and now we take care of their Colonnade. While they're tapped out, mostly. And it's just a top deck question. Did they rip lethal off the top? 4th Saheeli will do it. Lightning Helix will do it. Ah, last card, Lightning Helix. No! Okay. That's how it's been lately, guys. That is how it's been lately. That was a great game, though. That was like some good classic Magic. I can't really be mad about that one. That was intense. I think we played well throughout. I think we did probably the right things throughout, besides maybe the choke in Game 2, but it literally didn't matter what we did in Game 2. We were just functioning off a single green mana while they did whatever they wanted anyway. So, brutal. Brutal. QB almost saved us. And the Draw of Assassin's Trophy almost saved us, but Bonnet ripped the Lightning Helix. Unreal. I don't remember. I don't think we saw Lightning Bolt. And they'd already played at least one Helix that game. So they had a very small number of draws. I think that would have done it. I'm about to keep a risky one-lander because it has triple discard spells and then triple 2-mana spells. I think this is actually a pretty justifiable keep. I'm going to do it. It's borderline, though. Obviously, any one-lander in a BGX deck is borderline. And we are against Dredge, if I had to guess. Well, hopefully they just depend on a Cathartic Reunion to do anything here, and we can take it away. A single Cathartic Reunion, mind you. That's exactly what it is. Cool. Now, our hand is pretty bad. These Thoughtseizes are pretty bad, right? Oh no, did they find another one right off the top? Or are they just fetching main phase for some reason? Oh, they found Life from the Loam. Yeah, that's bad too. That's bad too. They couldn't even give us a single turn's window. And we have hit a second land, but it's Treetop Village, so we cannot play Scooze. When it rains, it pours. When it rains, it pours. They loam into a Creeping Chill, Bloodghast, Merchant of the Veil. Hit. Hard casting an Imp. Alright, we still want to draw an untapped land. We did. Cool. Time to get the Scooze online. Hardcast Creeping Chill. And they are going to pass. I think we're going to just gain a life off of this eating Merchant of the Vale here. Attacking their lands does something, but might not be the most necessary thing in the world. Alright, so their hand is Amalgam, Imp, 1 unknown. No, sorry, it's a Life from the Loam. Field of Ruin is an okay draw, just mainly in the sense that it allows us to play Tarmogoyf this turn, which I think we can. I think that's fine. I think just Tarmogoyf Go is going to be the line here. Eventually we want to be able to start attacking with like one thing per turn, maybe 2 things per turn, while holding up Skooz activations to eat the Imp after it blocks. I'm going to let this happen. Cast in another Imp from hand. You got it. Okay, they're not doing anything here. So at the risk of them, let's see. It would suck if they drew another Merchant of the Vale, but I don't think they play a full play set of these, and I think that'd be really unlucky. What I kind of want to do here, instead of just like eating Life from the Loam, is Trophy and Imp, and then untap and eat that, eat Life from the Loam, maybe Thoughtseize as well. But if they drew another Haggle, then that's a disaster. I guess we can afford to play around that just because the opponent's not attacking. So we'll just be more conservative, but that was a line. Liliana, pretty bad draw, right? I'm going to send in the Goyf here. Eat the Imp at the earliest possible opportunity here. And then we're just going to start putting a level at a time on Hexdrinker here and just play it pretty cautious, play it pretty safe. There's not much reason to do otherwise. We're keeping like the overall graveyard count pretty low for the purposes of Ox of Agonis. Though, of course, hardcasting that card is live with all the land drops they've made. Conflagrate, doing 1 to the Hexdrinker. All right. Eat it on the end step. Eat the Hexy. Shields down for another Haggle or whatever, but the only card in hand is Prized Amalgam. Besides whatever their one unknown is. We have some mana, but not so much that we can afford to be just like, you know, inefficient with it. Another trophy. Liliana Edict is like almost as efficient as holding up trophy here. But again, I don't see any special reason to do it that way. We hold all the cards here, literally and figuratively. We just play patient for one more turn. If they don't have anything major to do this turn, we will end step trophy and eat the imp. And then we'll start turning the Scoo sideways the following turn. If this Field of Ruin was even a black land, doesn't have to be green, even if it was black, we could have a lot more options available to us in terms of how we want to sequence. Like, we probably would have Thoughtseized by now, for example. Opponent Shocking and Stomping Ground. Kinda thought it was the Ox. Amalgam hits the bin. 3 fresh ones in hand. Shriekhorn. Okay. Our Skoos can still beat all this stuff. Again, if this field was black and or green, we'd be able to do a lot more with what we have. So for that reason, I'm actually, like, if they just say go here, I think it might be a better use of our turn to field the opponent and fix our own mana. They might activate Shriekhorn in response, in which case we'd only have 1 activation up while our field activation is on the stack. But with only 2 cards, I think that they'll see off it. I think that's fine. Again, the risk is if they drew another Haggle. But I think I'm gonna go for it. I think I like that line well enough. Hey, we Stone Rained him. Alright, eat your Amalgam. Okay. 8 other cards from your graveyard. I think I'm going to eat my Tarmogoyf first. Verdant Catacombs, a nice draw. We have 4 green sources. I'm just going to get a swamp off this one. And then I'm going to Thoughtseize. Stinkweed Imp Narcomoeba. So because they have the Shriekhorn activation, it's a little sketchy to take the Imp. Okay, I'm just going to take Narcomoeba and plan to fight through the Imp. Because remember, we might have to trophy this turn. The fight through the hardcast Imp, that is. Might have to trophy on their turn. And they're going to try to overload us with a Shriekhorn activation now. I'll compete over that Creeping Chill. So we are just playing ultra conservative here. Do we want to compete over the Narcomoeba? I think I do. I think I do. 2 activations is still fine. They don't really have good attacks. And like it's unusual that they hit exactly 2 cards off their Shriekhorn that we wanted to compete over. They're not going to do that again. They only hit 1 life from the Loam. I'll compete over that. Remember, we're also just following the general principle of keeping their graveyard empty because they have Ox. Eat the Narcomoeba. Take 1, gain 1. Tarmogoyf. It's another card that allows us to continue our very conservative play here. Amusingly enough, only a 2/3. Okay, let him have the lands back. Opponent just continuing to chip away with 1 imp per turn. So let's eat life from the Loam. I'll eat this chill, and then I'll leave 1 activation open so they can't Shriekhorn us with our shields down. We've drawn Nurturing Peatland. Alright. I'm going to Thoughtseize again. Starting to get a little low again on our life total, but... oh, that was a disaster. I'm stupid. I forgot. I should have known that. My bad, guys. That was a bad play. I definitely should have known that. They just had lands in hand. We just saw them do it. Eat the imp. So actually, if I hadn't made that incorrect play with Thoughtseize, I was actually thinking about playing Liliana this turn. At some point it will become correct to play her, and just start chewing through the board that way. Their main phasing Shriekhorn, interesting. Life from the Lone Merchant of the Veil. Okay, so we'll eat the life in response here to the cycle. So now they've got nothing. Not representing anything right now, so we can go... go to town with the Skoos. I'm not going to spend the life to activate Peatland there. Field of Ruin. Well, we've come this far being ultra-conservative. I think I'm going to continue with going Liliana rather than, like, having a double trophy turn. Now's a good time to Edict, because they don't have a fetch land back to make it trickier to eat the Bloodghast. And there's no need to rush it. As always, no need to rush it. That's the concession. Alright, well, I think we handled that one well, besides the obvious, I just kind of lost my concentration for a moment, Thoughtseizing right after they had an empty hand, but brought back the 3 lands to hand. I was conflating that in my mind with an earlier time when they refueled their hand. I believe after the Ox of Agonis resolved, so I was just kind of like, you know, thinking that was involved subconsciously. Last Hope is marginal. Kitchen Finks is fine. Brutality is fine to marginal on the draw. It's a little better on the play. These 6 cards are the ones we're definitely bringing in. We'll probably cut from among a couple Bobs and a couple Trackers as far as our threats go. I'm somebody who likes to cut Trophy here, although admittedly, a little worse against Ox to do that. The Lilianas, they gotta go. They gotta go. So I think I can just kind of rate Finks more highly than Tracker. I think that's fine. Cutting a couple Bobs is fine. Brutality and Last Hope. How do these stack up compared to, like, Confidants 3 and 4 on the draw? Or Trophies? I think Trophies pretty bad. I can be convinced to leave 1 in. Let's play the Brutality. 1 in to hit Ox, 1 in to hit whatever at a bad rate. But I think I'd rather play other things. So, 60th card. 2nd Trophy, 1st Last Hope, 1st Tracker, 3rd Bob. What do we like? Bringing in a lot of 3-drops, as usual with this deck. I think I'm just going to play the 3rd Dark Confidant. Dredge is actually one of those matchups where the obvious stuff, Liliana's out, Grave Hate in, is obvious. But I think there's a lot of room for nuance and a lot of room for preference in terms of how you configure the edge case things. And it's a great example. You know, some of you might leave in all of your trophies. Opponent keeping 7. We've got a couple hate pieces, but it's a 1-lander. Probably supposed to mull this, right? Yeah, probably. The hate pieces aren't any good if you can't... Alright, well, this is kind of the opposite problem, but I'll keep it. It's got a Spellbomb, I should keep that. Bottom of Swamp. It's going to be tough to beat a good 7 on the play, of course. Shriekhorn, as feared, as feared. They get a Bloodghast. Okay. Ooh, Scavenging Ooze. Still think I'm going to play Swamp, because our life total does matter, and we want to be representing black next turn for Spellbomb, potentially. And also, of course, the black mana helps cast Scooze, just, like, by turn 4, or maybe even turn 3, if they answer our Spellbomb right now, we might not have as much. Gotta let the Bloodghast come back. Might not have as much to do with the Scooze as we'd like, but as I was going to say, I think it's more likely that something like this happens, where we're untapping with Spellbomb, right? So to that end... what do we want to do here? Fatal Push actually makes things a little bit more complicated, because you can see a world in which we're able to push something. Wish we had a fetch land to just run out. Push something and then Spellbomb and still get the draw. I'm going to shock in the Tomb now. Stinkweed Imp, huh? I think I kind of like waiting and see if they're going to fetch on the end step here. If they fetch, pushing Bloodghast, spellbombing away a Bloodghast and a Stinkweed Imp is not perfect, but pretty good. Also getting 4 lands out of there. But if they just untap, it might be better to let the Dredge resolve from Stinkweed Imp and then compete over the leavings, or see if they try to go for a higher quantity of payoffs with the Shriekhorn. This is a really intriguing spot. This is a really intriguing spot. One reason I'm kind of okay letting the Dredge happen with the Imp is because down the road we can push the Imp and eat it with the Ooze long after our Spellbomb has... Okay, but they're fetching? Because they're fetching now, I think I am supposed to push the Bloodghast and cleanly take care of a lot of stuff. Think I'm gonna. Neither solution is perfect, right? And we could get punished by like a really good Shriekhorn hit. Oh, Ashiok, nice. Okay, so that was quite a nice Spellbomb, considering we were on the draw. Wow, they hit Bloodghast Amalgam off of the final Shriekhorn activation. That is a disaster. That's very bad. Well, but their play then is Life from the Loam. Oh, and they don't have anything else? Never mind. I was ready to complain. I'm not complaining. Who's complaining? That's awesome for us. So, yeah. Ashiok time, right? Who are we supposed to mill? It's like a real win condition to mill them, so I guess I will. Got him. Cathartic Reunion, pitching Golgari Thug and Prized Amalgam. Then they get to dredge more of Dakmar Salvage. But at the end of the day, the graveyard's not that bad. It wasn't that bad of a payoff. And we just get to Ashiok again. So one option is Ashiok, play Scooze, hold up 2 activations. It's kind of bad against Lightning Axe. Not even that bad, though, because QB still dies to Lightning Axe. Yeah, I think we're supposed to play Ooze. And just hold up our activations here. Like, yes, we could gain a life first off Amalgam, right? But we've milled some of their removal. Conflagrate, Lightning Axe are out of the deck. You know what? I actually think I'm supposed to play Blooming Marsh here. And only hold up 1 activation, because 1 activation should be enough to compete over most of the things they can do, including like pitching a Dredger to a Lightning Axe. I think they have a Lightning Axe. This is what I was afraid of. This is what I was afraid of. Yep, so in response we eat the Thug. Oh no, they have a Forgotten Cave? Dude, that's brutal. Okay, we got max punish for playing the Scooze. They still had a nutty hand after all of that. Thankfully, they didn't hit much of relevance off the graveyard, but they have another Shriekhorn in hand. So their hand is just completely nutty. They have another Ashiok, though. That's pretty sweet. We're just going to win this game with the mill. We're just going to mill them out. QB doesn't hurt either. Opponent finds Ox of Agonis Life from the Loam. Still some good stuff, but we're just on that mill plan. We're just on that mill plan. Ooh, Conflagrate. Life from the Loam. They're finding some stuff, guys. They really are. But a couple mills from Ashiok. I don't think they're going to have enough juice to beat us. Yep, Conflagrate to take care of Ashiok. Makes sense, but we have another one and we have a Scooze. Alright then. We're drawing pretty well, you have to say. You really gotta say we're drawing pretty darn well. That will be the concession. Well, we drew a critical mass of our sideboard cards. I always point out, you know, when the opponent, to me, has an undue amount of luck or, you know, variances going our way, it's very important not to develop a negativity bias and realize when things are going our way. We drew both Ashioks and 2 of our 3 Scavenging Oozes, is that correct? And a Nihil Spellbomb. That's a lot of hate cards to have drawn. That's a lot of hate cards to have drawn. And we had the mana more or less perfect the way we wanted it. Had to awkwardly shock in a land one time. This hand's fine. We'll keep it. And we also had like a really nice Plan B axis of Questing Beast, which attacks and blocks really well while we're so heavily disrupting. So, well, that was a really nutty progression from us, not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. So we're against an Astrolabe deck. Oh fun and joy. Dark Confidant's probably good against whatever they're up to. Let's find out. Thoughtseize you. Oh, bring to light. Kaya's Guile Lightning Helix. All those cards are pretty good against us too. So the problem with taking Bring to Light and playing for the long game is that, like, then both of our threats are answered by both of their answers. But I still think we're probably supposed to do it. I'd just be a lot more comfortable actually doing it if I knew I was making the 3rd land drop for Liliana. Nevertheless, I think because they have redundancy and removal, it's irresponsible not to take the Bring to Light. Okay, they show us a land we don't know about. And we show them, or we show ourselves a land that we didn't know about. Cool. So I'm not going to run a creature out into removal. I'm simply going to... I mean, we could consider decaying the Astrolabe, but I think it's probably better to just go on the Liliana plan and have as many cards in hand to pitch as possible. Okay, we've drawn Scooze. Liliana it is. And I think Scooze is the kind of the worst card in our hand for a couple different reasons. It dies to everything. Kaya's Guile generically makes it worse. We don't have excess mana. We do have excess gas. It's just kind of a weaker card than most of the other things. On and on and on. Inquisition. That's a fine draw. I guess we're going to tick up before they know we're going to cast an Inquisition, although you could definitely go either way here. I think I'm pitching Abrupt Decay. We're going to try to have a result that has a permanent of some kind stick. We get a Verdict out of their hand. Okay, so Inquisition's going to hit either Helix or Guile. You know, I kind of expected them to Helix the Liliana in response, but maybe they're making a Spirit here and they think they can pressure her effectively enough with that to not have to do that. Yeah, that's what happens. Okay. So this is pretty good for us. They basically just spent 3 mana to make a 1/1. And now the only question is, would we rather play Bob or Goyf? It's probably going to be Bob, even though it dies to more of their top decks. Just because we want to hit that 4th land for QB. Did they draw a Helix? Oh my god. This is what I'm talking about, guys. We're just punished. We're just punished for, like, correct decisions so often. So often. Assassin's Trophy. Well, that's not very good. Not right now, anyway. I guess we are just now reduced to edicting their spirit, kind of abandoning all hope for a Lily alt this game. Playing the Goyf. It's obviously pretty rough. Pretty rough variants in a couple different ways. They have Assassin's Trophy. Okay, well. At least we know we have our 4th land for QB now, right? And a pretty bad draw of Inquisition is at least something I'm happy to pitch. Alright, QB. Show them what's up. Still got a long way to go against this Supreme Verdict control deck. 5-color Niv Mizzet, by the way, if I haven't already said so, is what we appear to be up against. Okay, Forest is a free enough pitch. Let's crack Peatland. Okay. We're bricking. Obviously want to fade the namesake card here. Opponent's bricking too. Cool. Well, we keep... The good thing about us continuing to brick with this Thoughtseize is the latest one, is that we got our Liliana back operational at small cost. Still 3 more hits from the QB unless they fetch. That would make it 2. Okay, they fetch, they make it 2. Cool, I think that's good for us. I understand that they're just thinning out the deck, but I think that's good for us. Oh no, because they top deck something to Fairy. Yep. Admittedly, QB kinda wrecks to Fairy, so they don't even bother bouncing them. They bounce Astrolabe. Okay, that was a heck of a turn for them. They got their, but a lot of it doesn't matter. That's the thing. It's a heck of a turn for them. Very value positive, saw a lot of cards, but a lot of it doesn't matter. Because QB still got them dead next turn, and will just kill a Planeswalker for fun along the way. Might as well pick our backup Lily and put this Lily at 6. I think we're supposed to kill a Renin 6 here. QB, what a card. What a card. We did it. Well, the opponent had to brick for quite some time. This is a bad matchup. It is, but we did get their game 1. Love to see that. Questing Beast OP. Yeah, our discard effects were great there. We found a really good spot for that Inquisition, and Liliana did a ton of work. A ton of work. So, against 5-color Niv to Light, Ashiok is going to make Renin 6 worse. They play Uro, it'll make Uro worse. Shuts off the card Bring to Light, shuts off their fetch lands, so we probably want both copies. This is kind of similar to round 1, where we're playing against effectively a control combo hybrid. Niv Mizzet is not strictly a combo deck like Copycat is, but a resolved Niv Mizzet drawing 5 cards is enough of a win that we probably don't beat it. Enough of a win condition, a deterministic win condition against a deck like ours is what I'm trying to say, that we probably don't beat it. I want this Brutality. I could see playing some Spellbombs. Again, this is going to be pretty similar. It could go either way with Choke. I probably want one at the most. I don't think I'm going to play Engineer until I see Quattles or something like that. It makes me really want to. Okay, first order of business pushes out these cards in, cutting 1 Scooze. Think I'm probably supposed to play all 3 Fulminator even on the draw with this configuration. Question is, what does it come at the expense of? I mean, Fulminator is just bad against Renin 6, that's the only problem. Like, real bad against Renin 6. So what if we kind of abandon that notion on the draw, actually? Do we have enough other exciting things to do? We can just play 2 Chokes. But Ren is pretty good at working around Choke as well, and they have those Astrolabes. That's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't. So if we assume that Ren is going to kind of be good against our land hate no matter what, I guess Fulminator is better. It's probably better if they don't have a Ren. But it might be actually better to play like Nihil Spellbombs to compete over the Ren and the Uro. I'm changing my mind. I'm playing 2 Spellbombs. We're going to do no land destruction from the side on the draw here in Game 2. Everything else looks justifiable here. Nihil Spellbomb, just such a good card. Like, if it's kind of a borderline decision like this, you just play the thing that's going to generate you value and let you see more cards. Such an awesome card in our archetype. Opponent mulling. Our hand is definitely an on-the-play hand, but against a mulling opponent, we'll keep it. A single discard spell would make this hand amazing. Because it would grow our Goyf, it would clear the way for our Bob, which right now could die to Renin 6. Nah, they got Thoughtseize. Okay. Fair enough. We'll try to read what we can into what they take here. I think Liliana is generically our best card, but they take Bob. That means they don't have a Renin 6 yet. And I'm pretty cool with that result, because I might have been too scared to play the Bob out on curve anyway. Just can't afford the blowout, right? Okay, we drew the 3rd land. Nice. So it's just going to be Goyf into Lily. It is interesting that they left the Lily. Does make me wonder, but... What is this for white and green? Glittering Wish. For a multicolored card from outside the game. For Akaya's Guile. Alright. We can beat that. Ooh. Inquisition. That's pretty tempting over the Liliana right now. That lets us directly beat the Kaya's Guile, lets us know if they have a Veil of Summer in hand, and it also lets us have a double spell turn. Think we're probably supposed to do that. But obviously Liliana's tempting for obvious reasons. They have a Verdict, but they don't have the 4th land. Alright, definitely taking Kaya's Guile over Assassin's Trophy. And they have to draw a land that can make white to punish us with a Supreme Verdict. So I think I'm going to make him have it. I think we're just going to try to race him here. If they stumble even a little bit, they'll have to trophy our Goyf. They will main phase trophy the Goyf. Why main phase? I don't know. We'll get a forest here. Ooh. Brutality is another good draw here. I think now's the time to play Lily. Pitching this Decay. They pitch another trophy, so their hand is Verdict, Niv Mizzet. Okay. Eat the Goyf. Attack for 3. Obviously, holding onto the QB, very good in the face of Verdict. What is this, another Glittering Wish they drew? No, it's Uro. It is Uro. It's Uro, everyone's favorite card. Don't find a land, Uro. Don't find a land. They didn't. Nice. Okay. We'll see what they pitch. If they pitch the Verdict, we're going to play QB. They do. Alright, so at the risk of them having a second Verdict, and then finding the land for it, I think we're supposed to play QB. Just put lethal on field. Can you beat it? No, it appears they cannot. Alright. Well, that was fun. That was fun to curve out so well on the Niv Mizzet deck. Guys, we were the opponent top decking one of their few burn spells in round 1 from being 3-0 right here. I'm having fun. I hope you are too. I will be right back. 2 seconds. More like 30 seconds. I'm true to my word, aren't I? Maybe that was a little more than 30 seconds, but we tried. We're back anyway. Yeah. Well, the Rock is feeling real strong with this run out. I hope we finish the league out strong. Really like the configuration that we've come up with the deck tech. And for those who didn't see it, I believe his name is Matthew Dilks. I might be wrong about that. It's something like that. I've never interacted with the fellow before, but I think he's a big Amulet Titan player. And he recently posted a nice 5-0 with the Rock that is actually pretty similar to how I'm doing things here, especially to how I did it with my deck tech. He has definitely some points of variation. This is a fine hand. We'll keep it. So I think overall we are onto something, and you guys out there, if you're playing the Rock, let me know. Let me know how it works for you in spring 2020 in a very hostile, in some ways, modern format. We're against humans. Sweet. Fun matchup. Our hand is okay. I think we have to get basic swamp off of this. And we definitely have to draw a land sometime in the next 2 turns for our hand to be really good. Meddling Mage Phantasmal Image. The image is actually worth considering just because, like, if they draw an awesome card, image doubling down on it's pretty good, but I'm still going to take Meddling Mage here. It's just the more obvious thing to do, and I think we're kind of ahead, so we take the more, that's like a high floor, low ceiling line. And what's probably going to happen is we're going to play a Goyf, then they're going to make an image of the Goyf. Or we're just going to draw another Thoughtseize. That's kind of awkward, actually. But I'm going to play it. It's not going to get any better from here, and it is a fine find overall. They found a 1-drop to Violin. Yikes, Champion of the Parish, scary. Actually, a pretty scary one. But it does make me glad that I cast the Thoughtseize here. And if only we had we had better mana, right? On the opponent's upkeep, they're violating the champion. That's like an alpha move. They don't even wait to see what they draw. They just know they're violating the champion, even if they drew like another different 1-drop. That's funny. Alright. We just can't get our lands online, so we can't have another mana inefficient turn. I am going to play the Goyf. Hope the opponent bricks here. They stay on 2 with Vile. Then they crack Waterlogged Grove. They only attack with the big one. This means they have a Thalia's Lieutenant, right? It's going to make it a 4/4, so I think we have to not block here, even though that really sucks. It is a really good bluff attack. If not, but yeah, they sure do. Alright, come on, deck. Show me a land. Show me a land. We can go Scooze Push. Thank you. Thank you very much. Alright, now we can play some defense against these guys. And start stabilizing behind these creatures with a Liliana. Well, if we want to try to go for a 2-for-1, we can block with the Goyf and then push the other champion. But if they have something else to Violin, that's a disaster. I don't think we, like, need the 2-for-1. We shouldn't with our Lilianas, right? So I am just going to push. But it's really worth a thought. I'm playing around them having any 2-drop, though, you know? They didn't have it, so we would have got the 2-for-1. Nevertheless, like, the reason I didn't is because if they don't have anything here, then, like, we're still in a good position, right? Vials go to 1 and 3. Opponent will pass. Alright, I'm going to tick up, even though they can probably vial something in, just because I'm not interested in playing this Bob. Like, at all this game. They have a 1-drop to Violin. Another Champion of the Parish. Yikes. There's a ton of creatures in the graveyard, so the play here, I think, is going to be to bluff, but we're really going to field them and grow the Scooze twice, while still keeping the Goyf at the same size, and then next turn go for a double Edict. Cash in our first Liliana, then play a second one. QB will be the coup de grace after all that. If they attack with the 4/4, I might kind of be interested in a double block here. Yeah, I think I'm supposed to throw out the double block. Like, any kind of trading here is fine. They have a 2-drop. They have Mayor of Avabrook. Yikes. So now we'll field. We're just going to gain our life while we can. Okay, Mayor gets to flip. We draw Thoughtseize, not the greatest, but double Liliana Edict seems really good. And Goyf and QB can hopefully finish off the opponent. We are at 11, it's a healthy life total. Opponent rips a Noble Hierarch. We rip Overgrown Tomb, not much better. But we put Lily back to 2. QB time. Opponent's at 6. Liliana's at 2. We're at 11. I don't know what they could have here. Probably would start with a Militia Bugler. They need some kind of a 2-for-1. Whatever it is, it ain't enough. Game 1 against humans, really, really nice to win because, of course, we get much better post-side. They get maybe a little better post-side. We get much better post-side. They drew Thalia, they show us. Okay. Thanks for the reminder about the Guardian of Thraben. So, Plague Engineer, Collective Brutality, Lily the Last Hope, and Kitchen Finks are all probably going to find their way into the mix. Certainly some of those have to come in no matter what. No matter what. On the draw, I'm going to lose at least a Bob. We'll consider another. This is another matchup where Tracker is a little underwhelming. We could cut those. You could cut down to a 3rd Liliana. But all 3 Thoughtseizes will go. All 6 of these cards are pretty clearly coming in as I look a little closer. That means we need to make 2 cuts from among these 4. Let's do a... I mean, we're bringing in a lot of creatures and a lot of permanents, so I'm just going to leave all 4 Lily in and cut a Tracker. Certainly 1 Tracker. I think I'm cutting both Trackers. I think... Actually, I don't know. I don't know if the first Tracker is better than the 3rd Bob on the draw. It's close. I think the first Tracker is better, but again, we're bringing in a million 3-drops, so that's the main reason I'm considering cutting her anyway and playing 3 Bob. I think I will do that, but if our configuration was different, like if we were bringing in more brutalities and a death mark, for example, like some lower curve stuff, I think I would keep the first Tracker in over the 3rd Confidant on the draw. Somebody a long time ago asked me to do this. Sort by converted mana cost before we submit during leagues. I usually forget to, but there you go. I remembered one time. I remembered once. And often for me, the pilot, or for you, the pilot out there, if you're doing this on your own, it is useful, especially if you're not sure about a decision, is to look at the CMCs again in order and see what's what. Hope you're enjoying this one, David. I am David. Is it David or David? Holy moly, look at our stupid triple Field of Ruin hand. This hand is nutty, if even one of the mana produces black. Oh no. The opponent mulligans to 6. I guess we would probably have to mulligan this. What? Can somebody do the odds on that? Can somebody say, what are the odds in a 24-land deck with only 3 colorless lands of drawing all 3 and only 3 colorless lands in the opener? Oh, mulligan. Okay, and this hand actually kind of sucks. It's only creatures. The other hand was a million miles better. Is this keeping this better than going to 5? I mean, probably. We're probably hoping... We're kind of hoping they're keeping, like, a medium hand here. I don't actually know if that was the right land to bottom, but... Castle Locthwain is just a very low value in this matchup. Lily of the Veil, okay. But I was thinking, like, unless we draw a 1-drop spell, we're probably just fetching a tapped land anyway. Tap shock land on turn 1, so... Therefore, it makes bottoming the shock land correct. Mirren Crusader, yikes. Well, they didn't keep a medium one, they got turn 2 Mirren Crusader. Okay, we're in some real trouble. We're drawing Lilianas, at least. But obviously we really just wanted to draw like we gotta draw a removal for the non-Crusader thing so we can find a window to Edict, because the only way we get to Edict the Crusader is if they spend 2 straight turns playing no threats, which obviously ain't gonna happen. The Reflector Mage. Okay, so we are not gonna get there this game, almost certainly. Exalted on the Double Striker is nutty too. Plague Engineer. That's a good start. That actually goes a long way. It kills something, and it debuffs. That was a really good draw. And that makes, of course, a second Plague Engineer an even better draw. I was just going to say, at least they can't cast another 3-drop, but it looks like they can. They found the 3rd land. And they have another Reflector Mage. Such an oppressive card. It's like the least favorite thing about playing humans is these reflectors. They forgot to attack with one of them, though, so they give us a chance here. Okay, Abrupt Decay. Awkward. Just awkward. I think we need to be mana efficient, so we're gonna kind of waste one of our Lilianas to just kill a Reflector Mage. And maybe price them into attacking her, depending on what else is in their hand. We are dead to a Mantis Rider. That's not a Mantis Rider, that's an Ether Vial. Yeah, they are attacking her. Okay, so that was a really good play. We draw another one. Oh man, if only we had a 4th land, though. I think it's the same protocol. I think, once again, we're going to be mana efficient, and we're going to try to direct attacks at her. And, like, we just have to kill things one at a time anyway, so might as well do it this way. If we had more options, if we had, like, a 1-mana spell at any point here, or if we had a 4th land at any point here, we would probably not be wasting 2 Lilianas this way. But you understand why we are, right? OP gonna put us to 1. Yep. And they're gonna play a Champion of the Parish. Nothing we can really do here, is there? Just a little too late. The fourth land will come in a little bit too late. Take up for information. They probably have another 1-drop to Violin as well, by the way. Otherwise, why would they hardcast this one? So we're just kind of never getting there. Oh, they picked a Champion of the Parish. They might have a Dismember in hand, too. If only we had a Fatal Push at any point, we could at least try for the push into Edict here. Protection from black and from green. Let's try to get a little bit more information out of the opponent here, but there's no reason for them to show us any. Dismember. Yep. Alright, well, that's kind of how it goes sometimes when they're on the play, especially when we mulligan to a hand without enough action. We almost made a stand, though. We almost made a real game of it. Mirran Crusader, turn 2, is extremely impressive. Followed by Reflector Mages. It was a really good curve out, even though they mulliganed to 6. So, that's what that's all about. Here on the play, we'll be a lot better off on average, and we could bring back a 4th Dark Confidant. But is it better than anything else in our deck? I'm actually not certain that it is. I think I kind of like our balance just fine without him. Okie dokie, submit deck. You know, as if there isn't enough hate for us going around with Obstinate Baloth and Veil of Summer, which I've run afoul of in the last 2 leagues on the channel. I ran into 4 out of 5 matchups playing Veil of Summer with my Abs and Space Rhinos league, and I got hit by Obstinate Baloth in 3 out of the 5 matches with Jund, and in 2 of the matches, they had 2 Obstinate Baloths in the same game, and both of those times, the Baloths were the reason that we lost. So there's so much hate for our fair deck going around right now. And then you gotta face the occasional Mirran Crusader on top of it. Let's just say you hate to see it. I will keep... It's a pretty good hand. The double manlands are just so awkward. But, like, worst case scenario, if we have to push something turn 1, or excuse me, if we have to push their turn 1 play on our turn 2, we at least will have both our manlands down by then, but clearly have to play Hissing Quagmire here. Opponent mulligans. Lovely. Okay, that makes a big difference. That makes a big, big difference. Just having a Fatal Push in your hand is so amazing in this matchup. They lead on Ziggurat, so no Vial. Noble Hierarch. I will push you. We've drawn Blooming Marsh. Makes me slightly more interested in not pushing, but I still think we're supposed to for sure. I do like the sight of that 4th land, though. Just want to draw, like, only interaction from here on out. Any kind of kill spell or an early Inquisition will be awesome here. Don't care much about Meddling Mage. They're probably going to name Push or some other removal. Even if they name Bob or Goyf, we'll just play the opposite one. Yeah, literal, anything that kills a thing is all we want to draw from here on out. And I know that's kind of obvious to say against humans, right? They named Liliana of the Veil. We draw Liliana the Last Hope. I think I'm playing Last Hope, just because it's mana efficient, and then we can have a really nice either QB next turn or double spell next turn. And she just plays really good defense, while also locking X1s in their hand. How badly do we wish that was a Mayor of Averbrook, though, right? She also makes a top-decked Plague Man into an even nuttier draw than, than usual. Thalia's Lieutenant. Woo. That's not good for the opponent if that's all they can do this turn. That is not good at all, my friend. Because we get a clean kill on your Lieutenant. And that's amazing. Liliana, the Last Hope, has already been more than worth her weight in gold. So the only question is, do we play a 2-3 Goyf and a 2-1 Bob? Normally I would kind of say yes, because it's better against them top-decking like Reflector Mage, but because neither of them can block this 3-3, I think we should instead play QB, which is also quite good. But is a little bit more vulnerable to a couple different things. I dare say QB is just about one of the best cards in this league so far. Yeah, they hit the third land. That's actually pretty scary. Scary if it's Mantis Rider, scary if it's Reflector. Phantasmal Image for QB, that's also kind of scary. Noble Hierarch. Yeah, we take the trade here. Means Liliana's getting just another kill, and we draw Plague Man. Wow. Even better. This is some feel-good stuff, my friends, is it not? Is it not? Name human, kill your Noble Hierarch, then we shrink the Meddling Mage back down to... The 3-3 is shrunk to a 0-1. And then we're gonna shock in for Bob. So want to keep the action coming. And Goyf is still only a 2-3. If Goyf was like a 4-5, maybe we still play that, but... Okay, Mantis Rider. Yeah, it's good. But less scary than... you know, Reflectors or something like that. Confidant, what you got for us, my friend? We got Collective Brutality, we got Scavenging Ooze. These are some good cards. These are some good Magic cards. Let's kill the Mantis Rider. Let's shrink the Meddling Mage. Let's attack for 4. Let's play out a Scoozer. Oh boy. This is where we want to be. Opponent taking all kinds of pain off their Canopy lands too. Yeah, there's the Reflector Mage. Admittedly, a little too late. But definitely a great card against us. Eat your Rider. Ah, they'll scoop now. They'll scoop now. Okay. We had them just soundly overwhelmed and defeated. Well, I repeat myself, but I guess I'm repeating myself in an updated way. We were one top-decked burn spell away from being 4-0 right now, so I'm having fun. And The Rock has cashed a league for Mr. Cordova, our sponsor here today, the donor responsible for us playing Rock. I don't know if I finished my thought earlier. I think at some point when we just cast QB there, I was just saying, I dare say, QB has been just about the best card, or one of the best cards in this league. But really, this has been a comprehensive Rock performance with, like, QB, Liliana, Discard, Bob, Scooz, Goyf, all looking good at various stages. Yeah. Removal, obviously, pretty nice. We haven't really seen Tracker do her thing. That's about it. The sideboard cards were disgustingly effective there. Brutality, Plague Man, and Liliana all looking really good. Alright, round 5 it is. With a pretty nice hand. It's painful, though. It's very painful. It is so painful that I'm pretty positive we should be getting Swamp off of Marsh Flats, even though it's worse against a Path to Exile deck. It's worse if we draw a Scooze. We'll only have 1 green mana. We're still just taking an unusual amount of pain from our opening 7. Opponent mulliganed. Oh, I knew I was having... Guys, I was having too much fun. I was having too much fun. They had to scale it back. They had to give us this horrifying matchup. And that's a really good 6. I think we just have to take the Arbor Elf. It sucks, because a lot of our cards answer it cleanly. But every one of their payoff cards is a problem in a different way. So I'm just going to take the Arbor Elf and hope they don't hit the 3rd land on curve. Draw Thoughtseize, okay. We definitely have to resolve Bob here. And I guess we have to just, like... We just have to get our 2nd black source here. Because Liliana on curve is too important. This is where Trophy is just so feel bad. We could have taken something else and just decayed the elf this turn. And also just, like, moving forward, the fact that we attacked their mana dork instead of one of their many bombs, only to, in the mid-game, probably be priced into ramping them with Trophy is just so bad. But that's the price you pay with Assassin's Trophy. Alright, Painless, Bob. Painless. A Painless Blooming Marsh. Woohoo, nice. So would we rather Liliana or Thoughtseize? Probably still Lily. Playing Lily means we can just Edict the Magus, and having drawn the Blooming Marsh means we're still operational if they pillage. Only question is what to pitch. I kind of want to pitch Trophy. Thoughtseize should be good next turn. Obviously, we could come to regret this if they find like a 4 or 5 mana bomb that we can't handle, but I think we should be playing as though that's not going to happen. Because right now, it's not that realistic. They don't even hit the 3rd land. Nice. Nice. And Bob continues flipping painlessly. Oh, guys, it's so beautiful. It's such a beautiful thing. Okay, we're going to pick our Field of Ruin here. And then we're going to go Castle Locthwain, Thoughtseize you, Goyf you. But I guess we should attack first. Dark Confidant on the play. Really making the life of this Gruul player miserable. Are you mad about it? I don't think you are. We're going to take the Spyro. They have double Magus Bloodbraid Elf. I don't think you're mad about it. I know I'm not. Alright, they hit the 3rd land. Here comes Magus number 1. Bob with the millionth Painless hit. And we can, if we want to, play Forest Decay Magus tick up. It's still probably better to Edict. I think it's still better to Edict. But that is an option. And I do like cracking this main. Another Tarmogoyf, exactly why. some draw like that. Oh boy, oh boy. Feels good. They have found a Spyro. Okay, that's going to extend the game. For sure. Drawn Fatal Push. Okay, I guess it won't extend. I guess it's not going to extend the game. Oh, man. Guys. Guys, we're just nut drawing. We're just nut drawing. What a dumpstering of Gruul, man. What a feel-good moment. What a feel-good league so far. Really. What can I say? We're getting lucky. We're getting lucky. We had a nice curve out. The opponent stumbled. Our take of Arbor Elf was extremely rewarded, which will not happen every time, believe me. But it was extremely rewarded there. And what's more, we did come prepared for this matchup. Like I said in the deck tech, I planned to play another Ashiok and maybe even another Choke first. I don't know if I said that. But I said, I want to have, like, less than 0 things to do against Gruul. And I think Liliana's pretty fine here. I think 1 Brutality is good here. And I think the Finks are fine here, but admittedly, all the stuff is worse on the draw. Finks, obviously, can be really hard to cast between Pillages and Moons. So I don't know if we're going to bring it all in, but it's good to have access to it. I'm definitely playing this Brutality. I think I'm definitely playing a Liliana the Last Hope. The games are so grindy, they play removal. What don't we like here is the only question. I think 1 Scooze can go. I've cut 1 Lily of the Veil on the draw before. I think that's a pretty reasonable thing to do. I think we might just configure like this, not play the Finks, and it might be different on the play, but let's run it like this. Okay, here's where they get better than us. So whereas we are proportionately improved against humans post-side, I think Gruul is proportionately improved against us because they play Veil of Summers and Obstinate Baloths. Some combination thereof, possibly both. And whatever other generic value plays for that might be geared toward other matchups that they have lying around can most certainly come in against us. OP keeping 7, which you hate to see, but our hand's pretty good. We're really hoping they lead on Arbor Elf, so it'd be really nice to have, like, discard Fatal Push instead of 2 pushes. But this is a definite keep. We have natural resilience to Magus of the Moon, both in terms of being able to line up a Revolted Push and just making basic land drops. Alright, play an Arbor Elf. Play an Arbor Elf. They tap red, that doesn't do it. Okay, they play Arbor Elf, nice. Nice. It's what we needed to see. Alright. Was really hoping they just kept a 1-lander. Do they have another Arbor Elf? They have a Utopia Sprawl. Into a Scooze. How interesting. How interesting. Okay. I think we're actually supposed to just spend the turn decaying the Utopia Sprawl. Even though Scooze is good, it's not like mission critical to remove it, and we can remove it later on with Fatal Push. So I guess we are decaying the Sprawl, and because they could just make another land drop and hard cast Magus, we're probably supposed to get our Forest now. Alright, so we've killed 2 ramp pieces. Let's really hope that they kept like they only have 2 lands. That would be the big reward for us doing this on the draw. They eat with Scooze. Oh, they have a 2-lander? Oh, man. Okay. Okay. Cool. So, the obvious thing to do here is to play Liliana and Edict the Scooze. However, I actually don't think I will. The reason for that is we get blown out very badly by Veil of Summer. Whereas if we just say, Bob, go, if they have a lightning bolt, they're going to bolt the Bob, and then we can cleanly push the Scooze and play around Veil that way. Plus, if they don't have bolt, you know, the earlier the better for Bob, right? Bolt the Bob? No, they're just going to tap out to eat a enchantment, which makes sense. With the prospect of Tarmogoyf. But that's our window to push. Sweet. Opponent plays another Scooze and they're tapped out again. Oh man, we're getting them. We're getting them. We've drawn Questing Beast, eh? That is actually really appealing. Because, like, we're just taking a ton of heat from our own Bob. Like, it's an appealing play, but only because Bob flipped it. I'd rather play Liliana, I think, in a lot of ways. But I'm going to play the QB. We're going to race. And I am definitely going to offer the trade with Bob here. Okay. Opponent hit the 3rd land. So what's the big 3-mana play here? Klothys. That's good, but it makes me really happy I played QB last turn. We find a Scooze of our own, which is good at blowing out the Klothys. But maybe not this turn, right? Probably supposed to play the Liliana and Edict their Scooze. Then get our own Scooze down and should be in a pretty good spot. Despite Klothys being very, very strong. Just gotta hope for a Bob trigger that's not too painful, right? So even if they kill a small thing, we still have lethal. I'm sorry, no we don't. They're at 8 now. Spyro is a super scary draw. That's actually by far one of their scarier draws. They picked 2 Glorybringers. Interesting. Alright, well. This will be a very interesting turn. Let's let Bob trigger resolve. Painless Bob, yes, thank you. Thank you kindly. So my first instinct here is to pitch Inquisition because it might whiff. However, the Castle Locthwain is not really accomplishing anything. If that was a green land, I'd be a lot more happy about it. So I think we should begin by ticking Lily up, pitching Castle. Then we'll follow up probably with an Inquisition. But even that I'm not sure about. Huh. Let's actually think this one through. Now, like, we just don't need the black mana for anything except possibly cracking Peatland. That's really the main reason, I think, to keep Castle Locthwain around. Yeah, we're going to cast Inquisition. It could definitely backfire, but I think we're supposed to. Oh no, Obstinate Baloth. Bruh moment. That's stupid. Stupid card. Now watch, this is going to be a Veil of Summer in their hand with our Inquisition. Bloodbraid Elf, that's probably worse. Oh my god. I can't believe they're going to steal this game from us, and I think they are. I think they are. With that Bloodbraid Elf, certainly, so we can... It might not be over yet. We're going to trophy the Baloth and attack with QB. Holding up a Painless Scooze activation here to compete over the Klothys trigger. I cannot believe they had a friggin' Baloth in hand off of the Spyro. Unreal. And we're also holding up 2 Scooze activations, so if we end up like trading off with Spyro, we can eat it on our turn, if that's what makes sense. Or on their turn before we untap. Also holding up Peatland this way. We could still get there. We kind of need them to whiff off of this Bloodbraid Elf. We also need them to not draw something better than Bloodbraid Elf off the top of their deck. And the main reason we could get there is because Scooze is going to be pretty important here at this stage of the game. And also because QB can't be chump blocked, which is really good. So whatever they go for, I think we compete over. We could consider not doing it if it's a land, because that could be like a decoy to have us not gain a life with Scooze. But if they, like, go for... Yeah, they go for a spell. We can't let them drain us for 2 here. Okay, they drew land for turn, so it's Bloodbraid rolling the dice into a... brick. Come on, brick. Back up Klothys, or Utopia Sprawl. That's a brick. That's a brick. Oh man, oh man. Oh, but Klothys just got animated from that? I wasn't even paying attention to that. Wow. Wow. Okay. Brutal. So if they all-out attack, we will chump with Bob. We will beat the Pyromancer with Scooze. We will beat the Bloodbraid with QB. Yeah, they don't have a great attack there. Cool. Okay, so green mana's kind of at a premium. There's 4 creatures to eat. I think we can stay neutral on life to eat 1 creature just to grow the Scooze right here. I think that's correct. If we had like 5 green mana, we wouldn't do this, but since we only have 3 and one of them's painful, I think eating a Glorybringer here is correct. Alright, there's no 5-drops on our deck, so we can let this resolve. We flip our second QB, which is literally the worst possible flip. And we drew Bob, which is just about the worst possible draw. Unreal. Alright, I think we've taken 8 damage. We flipped both QBs from Bob, which is just grotesque. Alright, we have to Lily Edict to get rid of an elemental token, which is a disaster. Then we're just going to Pulse Spyro. Eat him before they untap. How are we supposed to attack here? I guess with only QB. This is super intense, guys. Super duper intense. So obviously, whatever they target with Klothys, again, unless it's a land, we have to compete over the Scooze. That'll take us to 1. Then we'll be a bit at the mercy of our own Bob Trigger. But we will be able to respond to it by gaining 2 life with the Scooze. Okay, opponent's at 3. Okay, first step is they have to break off the top. Second step is we have to not die to our own Bob. This, to be fair, is a really good game. This is a really good game even if we don't get there. It's not always the case against Gruul. Their setup is kind of such that they don't want it to be a good game, you know? They want to kind of cheese you out or do things that you can't interact with a lot of the time. Oh no, what did they find? Seasoned Pyromancer. Okay, yeah, perfect top deck. Great. Literal perfect top deck. Besides, I guess, something that outright kills us like Lightning Bolt. Did they find that off Pyro, though? They sure did. Okay. Never mind. That wasn't a good game. That was a terrible game. Truly, though, it's hard to imagine getting unluckier with our Bob Triggers, and that's why we lost the game. If we had more life total to play with, and... Oh, sorry, I haven't yielded yet. I thought that was death lag. Remember that the flip of the second Questing Beast was the second flip of the only 4 drops in our entire deck, which is another... Like, even when our league's going well, we're having, lately, astronomically, statistically unlikely things happen to us. And not only was that just extraordinarily painful, but it also, of course, was not action. We were seeing 2 cards per turn, and the last 2 cards we drew were both bricks, because we can't play a second Bob, and we can't play a second QB, because he's legendary. So that's a little bit ridiculous, all things considered, you have to say. But that was a really good game, but that was our one. That was our one to really win. Admittedly, we are on the play, that's pretty good too, but... The Finks could come in. Are Finks better than Tracker? Or is like a 1-1 split better? Before this, I might have said, like... I think we want the 4th Lily back, perhaps more than anything else. We just don't have cuts to make. So I guess we're just kind of running out there without Kitchen Finks. I think that's fine. Let's do it. So yeah, that was our one. That was our chance to, like, force them to stumble and capitalize, which we did really well in the early game, but it just got massively unlucky near the end. They're just ripping Spyros off the top when they're in top deck mode. I believe that happened twice. Obviously, that's really bad. Okay. Come on. Perfect 7 here. Perfect 7. It's not perfect, but it's actually pretty darn good. We can keep it. I think basic Swamp is correct here. If we had had Swamp fetch land in hand, I think I would have fetch shocked. Okay, they have 2 Arbor Elves. A Klothys, a Lightning Bolt, a Chandra, and 2 lands. It's an extremely good hand. I think we're supposed to take the Klothys here, though. But another option is to take Arbor Elf and have a guaranteed way to slow them down. But we still might be able to if we draw the black land on curve. And Klothys is just kind of like their best card against us in a lot of ways, especially because we have Tarmogoyf in our hand. Dark Confidant. Okay, just going to kill the Arbor Elf and really hope to draw an untapped black land next turn. If not, at least our Goyf is now big enough to survive a turn 3 Chandra. Come on, untapped land. Damn. Alright, Goyf or bust. At least we drew a second one, so we can just, like, play Goyfs and get there. Unreal, though. Another piece of bad luck, another piece of bad fortune. We can't really afford so many of those in this matchup, right? But again, at least we're surviving Chandra. This turn, they could play Chandra tick up and then plan to, like, tick down and bolt on a future turn. But then they might have to chump block with Arbor Elf. So at least we have this Goyf. At least we have this Goyf. See what the opponent does here. Does look like it is just good old Chandra. Adding mana. Uh-oh. They have double bolt? That would suck. Kinda. I mean, still be a 2-for-1 in our favor, right? Or did they hit the wrong... They hit the wrong one. And we missed the land yet again, so it is just Goyf bashing time. And admittedly, again, it could be worse, but it could be way better, too. You need lands to function. You need lands to function when you're a deck like ours. We only have 2 of them. Please do not pillage us. Please do not cast the card Pillage at all this game. This is going to be a crappy way to lose if we just get land screwed by our own deck. Like, the opponent had stumbles on their land progression as well, but they're... Like, that's because we're interacting. You know, like, we're killing Arbor Elves, and you even killed a Utopia Sprawl last game. It sucks when we're just, like, drawing clunkers instead of drawing lands when we really need lands. Yeah, I thought about escalating pitching the Tracker to take away the Lightning Bolt. At this stage, I almost wish I did. I found Bloodbraid Elf. Alright. Into Klothys. I hate everything about this deck. I hate everything about this deck. Oh, no, 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 no. We're gonna lose. We're gonna lose. We're gonna lose. Unless... There it is. There's the third land. As long as your devotion to red and green 7 is less than 7. So if we edict anything... Klothys goes back to... an enchantment. Obviously, this would have been way better a couple turns earlier, but we'll take it. It's going to let us get Chandra off the field. Unless they sacrifice Klothys here, which I don't expect them to, but in my Jund League, a player did exactly that. Okay. Opponent bolting Lily, sure. Unfortunately, we have to send them both at Chandra here, I think. Or, like... Is it at all reasonable to race them? And if they did not find a Klothys, I would probably be racing them. Yeah, they only have one card in hand. I think we have to kill the Chandra. If they have another Chandra, I'm going to be tilted off the face of the earth. But I think this is correct under most circumstances. They have one unknown in hand. This also keeps the Goyfs big, you know, getting a second Planeswalker in the bin. Yep, so they take away our Lily, but Goyf is still 6/7. Windswept Heath. Okay. May the last card in your hand be a land too. Bloodbraid Elf does not attack. We draw Thoughtseize. Seems bad. Seems bad. Send in both of the Goyfs. The only, like, good card they can have in hand that they wouldn't have played is probably Veil of Summer. I'm not counting, like, Lightning Bolt as good here. So I'm going to play Tireless Tracker. That's going to play around Veil of Summer, even just as a cantrip. And it's also better than playing a Bob at this stage, probably. I really wish we had drawn a Fetch Land instead of a Thoughtseize, but what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Doesn't matter, because the opponent's just going to brick. They're just going to brick off forever. Assassin's Trophy. Okay. We can lead on Thoughtseize, and then if they have Veil of Summer, we can trophy the Bloodbraid Elf in response, and either way that'll be lethal. I don't know what they could cantrip into off of the Veil that makes it not lethal. That's a Klothys. We did it, guys. We beat Gruul. We beat Gruul. With good old-fashioned green-black rock. And hey, there's the utility of Trophy. It's easy to overlook that, like, oh yeah, we just drew removal, GG. But, like, Abrupt Decay and Fatal Push would not have won us the game that turn, right? So, as much as I complain about Trophy, and as bad as it often is early compared to alternatives, you just kill 4-drops with it, it can be really impactful in situations just like that. Well, guys, let me repeat myself for the third time. Again, the updated third time. We were one top-decked burn spell away from going 5-0 with the first time I've played Rock in a while. Like, ever since I've developed this new approach to it. What can I say? I know what my temptation is. My temptation here is to say, Rock is back, Rock is awesome, Rock is just as good at grinding as any of the other decks. I still rationally, believe me, I wish that was the case. Rationally, I don't believe it's true. What happened here is we actually drew pretty well compared to how I've been drawing lately. I had a 2-3 with an Abs and Donation League that was almost exclusively the result of bad variance. We've had more 3 and 2s than 4 and 1s lately with just the last few leagues on the channel. And admittedly, we've been playing off-meta stuff like Frogtown and Siege Rhino, but you understand. I think we have to put things in context and say that our deck curved out really well. And granted, it's designed to do that, and we hope it does that. And I think the structure is kind of maximizing our chances of doing that in a lot of ways. But on some recent Jund videos, for example, I just haven't been curving out as well as we did here relative to how Jund can curve out, right? So I want to restrain myself a little bit from saying, like, Rock is amazing, but what I will say is that even before I played a single league with the list that I drew up, the 2 lists, rather, that I presented in the 50-50, that I presented in the deck tech, the 50-50 and the 80-20, I was very confident that there are a really, really solid way to build green-black rock right now, given the metagame. And I think this league really proved that here. Didn't feel like we lacked for anything to do in any matchup. Felt like we had a really good balance all around, and the only matchups where it's a little unclear what we could or could not do, or should or should not have brought in, maybe, is a matchup like Gruul, where we don't really have hard hate cards for it anyway. And our main deck is actually really well configured against it, even though I think the matchup is unfavorable. It's one of those ironic things. In any case, I don't know. Sometimes I play a little bit worse in round 1 than I do for the rest of the league, so I'll have to look back and see if there's anything we could have done differently to win round 1. I don't think we were winning round 2 no matter what I did, because we just got seized out of contention. And I don't think we did anything wrong in round 3, in game 3, but I'll have to look back. I would hate to have left a 5-0 potential on the table, but you can't think that way. You rather think we faced a lot of tough matchups again. It's not like we were against, the perfect matchups for us or anything close to it. And we were 4-1, one top deck burn spell in a game 3 away from going 5-0. So always fun. I had a lot of fun here. We had really feel good moments too. It's hard to say the MVP. The sideboard stuff felt so dominating against humans. QB was amazing all throughout. Dark Confidant was amazing for most of it, but admittedly, he did almost single-handedly lose us around 5 game 2 by flipping double QB. And hey, QB, you're complicit too, right? You're not innocent either, so I don't know what was best, but like I said earlier in the league, this was just kind of an all-around cohesive rock performance where basically every card pulled its weight in some way, shape, or form. So, there we go, my friends. Excuse me. I'm tired, but I'm smiling. I'm feeling good. It's always good to get back to the rock, and we have David Cordova to thank for getting us there right here, right now, today. So, David, my friend, thank you once again for your generous support over the months. He's been around for a while, has Mr. Cordova, and back before the Discord was a thing, I really appreciated him because he was one of the relatively few people, sharing things to the community section on Patreon, and, also DMing me with a couple things. Like, he's keeping the rock spirit alive and the community spirit alive, but Patreon is just, not an easy way to do that, so now we have the Discord for that, and we're really getting into the community spirit there, I hope you guys who are there feel the same way. I'm having a lot of fun just having access to everybody's thoughts, in a short turnaround time. So anyway, guys, thank you once again to our generous supporter here and to all Patreon supporters. If you are enjoying this content, patreon.com is the best way to give back to it. I truly appreciate everybody who's doing it. I consider this a second job. I take it very seriously. I move heaven and earth sometimes virtually to get some time in my busy schedule to do stuff like this for you. So if you want to see the content continuing to exist at all, especially continuing to come at the rate that it currently does, I have to be able to justify taking time away from my family and my work and my other duties, of which there are many. And as much as I hate to reduce it to it, and as much as this is also a labor of love, the more support I get financially, that's just how it is for me now. With some young kids around, I got bills to pay, the more I can justify being here with you. So, link to that in the description below. You can also patronize my sponsor, Brian Palmer, as well. I do get a bit of a nice kickback from that because he's a very generous dude and a very cool dude. So, please check that out, and please let me know what you think about the list. I think this one is really a good baseline for the rock. If any enterprising rockers out there want to report back, if they take it for a spin, please do let me know. But we drew pretty well today. I think we played well enough to get over the line, and great result. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you for the next video. I don't know what's up next. I need to reach out to April Donation League qualifying patrons and see what they want me to play. I'm also going to be covering spoilers for Ikoria, and I might have a spicy deck tech to bring to you as well. We'll see how all that goes, but anyway, my friends, thanks again for watching. Have a wonderful day. Please stay safe out there and be well. I will talk to you soon.